Hi everybody, it's Susan with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. I have a Stampin' Show and Tell for you today. Today we're going to play with the stamp set on Mother's Flair, which is featured in our spring catalog. That will be ending the end of May. And this set actually will be retiring, so if you want to get this, you need to get it before the end of May. We're going to do some simple cards today. I'm going to stick with just a couple of basic embellishments. I'm going to try to work in some of our glitter enamel dots. Okay, those come in different colors, the green, the pink, the yellow, and the blue. I'm using my Archival Black ink just to keep it simple. I've got all the images and the words on my blocks already. I'm going to use some of our paper doilies. I've got our powder pink ribbon to use on a card, and we're just going to go ahead and make some cards right now from scratch. So I've pre-cut some of the pieces, but we'll see where we end up with each of them. Okay, so let's work on the pink one first. So I've cut my designer series paper down, and I'm going to mat that on black. So let me get my snail so we can start working with that. So I'm just going to mount this here. Now I had a piece of scrap black left, and what I was thinking was doing was wrapping that around on the bottom here. So just like I would wrap a ribbon, I'm going to wrap the cardstock. Now that might make it a little bulky. If you don't like the bulk, you can trim it off at the ends, but I'm going to put this up on a dimensional, so that bulk's not going to really matter. So I just wrap that around and stick that on my sticky strip underneath. Okay, so there's that. Now I do have the powder pink ribbon here to use as well, and I've already tied a bow. So let me trim off the other end here. Sometimes I do this. I trim the bow after I've cut it. That way I can kind of see if I'm going to want to use it on the card before I actually cut the ribbon. But I knew I wanted to use that, so we're going to do that. And then, let's see, I want to stamp Happy Mother's Day on this one, and I want to stamp it kind of right here on the designer series paper. So if your designer series paper isn't too busy or isn't too dark, it is nice sometimes to just stamp directly on the paper, just like that. Okay, and now we're just going to mount that up on dimensionals. Get 4 of them here. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the front. Now I'm going to put it a little bit high because I wanted to use a doily on this one. Let's see if it's going to work. I'm going to use the whole one or the half one. I'm going to use the half one. Do I want to do that? Give it a little flare? Or do I want to come down from the top? So like I said, I hadn't really planned these out in great detail yet. I just kind of had some ideas on the cutting table, and I wanted to just play with them with you here. I'm going to do this actually. I am going to put it there on the bottom. I'm just going to add some snail. So I've got the black, but now I'm daintying it up a little bit with that doily. And then I'm going to make my ribbon a little bit smaller, so I'm going to pull my ends together. Trim off some of these tails, line these up so they'll be closer to the same length. I cut on a diagonal so it has that nice finished point on the ends. Okay, now we're going to put that on with a glue dot. Sometimes it takes 2, depends on the weight of your ribbon, but I can usually get away with 1. So there we go. Now, I was going to add either the hat or the teapot from this set on the card, but at the moment I kind of like it just the way it is. So for the right now, I'm just going to set that aside. We're going to work on another one, and we'll see where we end up. Okay, so here's another piece. This one is in Pool Party, and actually I just realized this is really cool stripe on the back, so I'll have to do that with another card. So this one we're just going to do a straight, we're just mounting a piece of DSP on the front here. And I'm going to mount that straight down onto my cardstock. And then I didn't have any Pool Party ribbon. So I have a piece of Pool Party scrap that I'm just going to use as a paper ribbon. Yeah, I think I want this one to go this way. And I want to use a doily. So before I do any of that cutting, we'll have that. Now, let's see. I have a piece of Whisper White here to do some stamping on. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp in Basic Black on here. I'm going to stamp the hat image. So let me ink this up. I'm going to stamp that down. And then I'm going to use my 2 1/4 inch punch. Oop, I have a little smudge. Flip it over, let's try that again. Let's try not to get a smudge this time. Good, no smudge this time. 2 sides of cardstock. I always get 2 choices, 2 attempts. So I've got my 2 1/4 and I'm just going to frame that in my punch and pop that out. And then I'm going to mount that on my paper doily, like so. Now, I don't have any of the markers at my table, but I could now come in with a blend or a marker, and I could color that flower to match the flower on the paper. So that's always an option. So there's that. And let's see, I'm going to put this paper ribbon down the edge here. So I'm just going to put some snail on the back to get started. I'm going to make this an anchor point. Okay, and then you can just trim off the extra, like so. Then I've got my doily with my hat, which I can go back and add color to if I choose. And then, you know what? I think this piece might be long enough to stamp Happy Mother's Day on. So let me see if I can do that. Yep. So now I could make a little banner that goes on here with my reading. So that's coming together well. So let me go ahead and add my doily to my card. I'm going to use dimensionals. Now I don't want to put my dimensionals out where the frill is because then it would stick through stickiness, so I want to make sure it's behind the white part where I've got that tied on. So I'm going to put that kind of there, and then I'm just going to add snail to the back of my little banner here. I'm going to run that underneath. So keeping with the idea of simple pieces, but kind of frilly. And then I think, yeah, I do. So I'm going to take these glitter. And so they're different colors, so they're not exactly the Pool Party color, but I'm going to use these lighter shade ones. And I actually think I'm going to take the smallest size one, and I'm going to add that to the hat. Right there. So it's not exactly a pearl, but it's a little bit of glimmer on there for a little bit of embellishment. So that's pretty cool. I like that one. Okay. Now, I'm using this black and white paper. I love this black and white paper. I love coloring the black and white paper. But today we're going to leave it black and white because it's kind of nice just black and white. So, I'm going to flip this over and snail this down. So as you can see, these are all pretty simple cards. Just chop your paper and chop a mat that's a little bit larger and then put it together. And then I had a piece of ribbon that was left from a different project. So I'm just going to wrap that and put that on. So my little cheater bow that I do frequently. So I'm just going to wrap this around the back, tack it on the end, take off the tail. Okay. And then let's see. Yeah, I'm going to put that flat matted on the front of the card. I like that bold black framing. Kind of jazzes it up a little with that berry burst. Then I'm going to tie this around, and I just do a single knot. Pull it snug. I get that tail with my fingernail there. When you're working with a piece of scrap ribbon, you don't really know the length until you work with it. Okay, so there's my little scrap ribbon. Okay, pretty easy there. And let's see, I think the shoe maybe on here. Let's try it. So let's stamp the classy shoe here. Like this stiletto looking boot. And I'm going to go ahead and use that same 2 1/4 inch circle punch. There we go. And then I'm actually going to slip this kind of underneath there just a little bit. And let me see, I don't think any of my words are quite small enough to fit next to that boot. No, let me try that again. So what I want to try to do is put the words and the boot on the same punch. So let's see. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but we're going to try it. Alright, so there's my words. And what did I do with the stamp? Here it is. And my boot. Now I'm going to do my boot real close to those words. This is where the clear stamps would be great, but the clear blocks help you kind of line all that up. Now let's see if I can trim that out with a circle punch. I can. Look at that. It was tight, but we got the job done. Alright, so I wanted the words on there and I made it happen. So I'm going to use that for something else. Okay, so now I can bring this in like I wanted to, and I can plug it right in on there if I want to, or I could just mount it over here so it shows off more of that beautiful paper. So when it's your card, you can decide where you want to put it. I think I am going to tuck it in that corner though. So I'm going to put that up on a couple of dimensionals. And then let's add some of those Berry Burst glimmer beads to this one too. So this one says, "Life is beautiful because of you," and I'm going to tuck it under that ribbon just a little. Line that up like that. And then let's see, do things in threes. So we want bright, let's go in the middle. So I've got a small one. I'm going to do the same thing with the flower. Position that kind of on the flower, like so. Go a little bigger. I'm going to put one down here. And I'm going to do one more kind of up here randomly. So we have some glimmer on there, that sharp black and white imaging. And then because this one's black, we're going to line it. So since the beginning, middle, I can't speak at the moment, sorry. Since the front says "Life is beautiful because of you," I think on the inside, I would like to put "Hope your day is as wonderful as you are," and then we'll put "Happy Mother's Day" underneath that. So, link up the correct stamp. Now, when I'm stamping my words, I line up my paper on my grid sheet, and then I try to make sure my stamp is on there as square as possible. And I just stamp kind of using that square of the grid sheet and the square of the block. Does that make sense? It's a very visual thing. Some people have difficulty, but that's how I work it. And it works most of the time. So, alright, so there we go. There we've got our insert, the inside liner on our card. A nice bold black band around that. So there we go, 1, 2, and 3. So a little fun card crafting for you today. Nothing super difficult, no super difficult techniques here, just black ink, some embellishments, and some fun. You know what, I want to add some pink to this before we go. I'm going to use the light pink, the lightest pink that I have here. And again, I'm just going to drop a couple of these glimmer enamel embellishments on the card just to give it a little bit of pop. Okay, so pretty easy set to use, some great words for mothers. I love this one too, you make motherhood look so good, for like that new mom or somebody who, a friend of yours that's, you know, a mom to the kids that always kind of stress them out. I think that's a great one to use for like kind of a pick-me-up card for them. So that's it for today, our quick little Stampin' Show and Tell. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll have all the details on my tutorial that'll be on next week's newsletter, so if you want the newsletter and get access to all my fun programs, subscribe below. And I'd love a comment or a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye everybody.